rest a little bit over the next couple weeks, whereas Space Station's been very consistent.
They also ban Coastline a lot. It's actually Space Station's most banned map right now. It's going into the double digits at 10 bans, which is pretty crazy. But when SSG gets brought to Coastline, they tend to win it. So that's you know, with 6 recently played in the last few months, they won 4 of those Coastline plays.
Coastline is actually a very highly banned map. If you go and you look through the entire season, I before this matchup, I actually wrote out, I think listening in that can relate to that, but I physically was writing out all the different
And victory.
Me up.
Okay.
TSM, they
When they played it.
So Space Station versus TSM, ban phase beginning. Capitao and Habana gotten rid of. So
Habana being banned.
That means
is and it's Space Station who banned it. So have scrimmed each other, and should they prevail?
Our kind of thing about not the serious kind of course, and Space Station's proficiency with Tadalda. They've actually historically got a lot of different players who can rotate onto the gun and just tear people apart. So that could be a targeted ban for that. The Habana ban for me just screams, when we're playing on billiards, we want to be comfortable. There's also the fact that TSM have brought Amira since she's not banned. We always talk about how Mira is such a powerful operator on this map. It's one of her best maps. It's because most of the real estate, most of the ground that you can place a mirror window on is disposable. And one of the best places to put a mirror window is somewhere that is disposable, somewhere that you don't need to hold for the entirety of the round or lose the match. Not all, mind you, but a lot of the places. Like, for example, above, that's disposable. Below, where Pojo put the second one, not so.
I suspect that Merc went for a spawn peek, as you were talking about this, because he's taken some damage, and that's been about it. And I mean, if you're starting Coastline off with a spawn peek from Merc, you know he's feeling one.
He didn't land any shots, but, I mean, the fact that he's got, like I talked about, the confidence to go for it, that speaks volumes.
Yeah. God, how long has it been since we've seen, like, any reliable mirror play on this map? Ages, I really like. Yeah.
I mean, we scope that out to reliable mirror play, period, and ages.
What?
Yeah, mirror play.
We scope that out to reliable mirror play, period, and ages still.
Yes.
We don't see it. It just doesn't happen because teams aren't practicing Mira anymore, and more importantly, I'd say the meta's in a state right now where she is just kind of not as good. But
especially on this map, right? And a lot of teams don't run her because there is so much ample soft destruction.
Well, this is one of her best maps in my opinion because of that same thing, though. Because like, if you use a mirror window in a throwaway tactic, like just to slow things down, I think that's the best position in this meta. In our current meta, you don't want to use mirror windows to hold, positions you must hold as a defender, because then when you lose it, then it's harder to hold that position. And again, in our current meta, I think that just makes the most sense to use them how we're seeing TSM using them right now.
There's been much of a hunt now on the roamers for TSM, as we know that they're on the second floor playing not too far off, and for TSM, as we know that they're on the second floor playing not too far off, and well, Achieved is going to find Canadian. Goodbye to the Dokkaebi. The logic bombs will still continue, but that'll be it. Opening pick to TSM, and Achieved immediately falls off that second floor, heads back down. Because there's a Mozzie and because there's a Vigil on the board, this might make droning for Space Station a significant headache, and there's a possibility they don't know that they've got complete control of that second floor.
Now, I mean, they're making pretty decent efficiency, but you could see that you're right there. They're just doing a little bit of droning, just double checking, being sure. Bolo's actually in a position where he might want to push up these cool vibes or blue stairs, depending on what you want to call it. He's been spotted out though. Rampy, aware of Bolo's position and trying to get into his position of his own to punish. There's only 30 seconds left, mind you, so there's not a lot of opportunity here for SSG to pounce on the site. They're going to get the first kills. Rampy drops over by the couch, and he'll get Pojo Man, but he's been down in response. Faults from the hallway will get one. Achieved finishing off Rampy, who was down earlier by Bolo. In Garden is Faults, and he's eliminated by Merc. 3 for Achieved. He's going big in this round, and by default plan is Bosco, but he's really not going to be able to get that diffuser down. So he's going for...
Knew that. The way you want to do as the Space and a good one of your best operators at being able to figure out the location of the roamers because of the logic bombs. You had how much? A minute and 20 seconds left when the first casualty occurred.
about that, yeah.
And then you have to go back onto drones because presumably Achieved wasn't droned out in the first place, so you don't have the knowledge of where TSM is, and now you have to try to find it yet again, and what's your drone state at? What's your drone economy at that point?
Another point is that Dokkaebi was the
1勝目は
first
久
one
しぶり
to
見
die.
た。
Yes.
So clearing out the roamers made even more difficult because the phone calls are no longer there. I mean, that's why they brought Canadian Dokkaebi in the first place. It's so useful to isolate your targets above. Space Station had a pretty good time clearing out that top floor, I gotta say, but it just, in the end, wasn't proficient enough. I gotta say, I honestly don't remember who I had for this match, because this is the type of match that is just gonna be, it just looks so close on paper. A lot of people hyping up TSM right now, and after that last round, I guess you could say rightfully so, but it's only one round in. Thinking Nade using an EMP to get rid of Legion traps, potential pre-placed C4s, just anything that he's worried about. There's a Yokai drone on the windowsill, or not window, but rather door frame in the hallway there. Whether or not Thinking Nade notices it. The Mozzie pests are slowing things up considerably here for SSG. We've talked a lot about Mozzie in recent times and how relevant he's become in the meta. His ability to slow down a drone is, and by slowing down the drone, by extension, slow down an entire take, is just crazy high when you compare it to the operators like Mute, who don't have that same ability. I mean, Mute's gonna slow you down really, but Mozzie will stop you. And that's what's happening right now. Merc is single-handedly, well, I guess not single-handedly, Merc and Bolo are holding up this push from Luggage effectively.
And Bosco can't drone out either of them. You just saw the pest right there. And when people talk about Mozzie's potential is how much of a nuisance he is, you've got a Vigil playing on white stairs who's already a pain to drone. You've got a pest denying your drone from going into that direction. Then you've got a Mozzie holding the cross all the way over on 90.
What are you gonna do?
What are you going to do?
Oh,
Other than literally face checking, in which case you go to take the fight against the Vigil. At best, you kill the Vigil and are immediately traded off by the Mozzie, who's watching the same angle. It is a fool's errand for Bosco to try to take this engagement. All the while, TSM will get the opening pick on Nafultz, and then it's engagement. All the while, TSM will get the opening pick on Nafultz, and then we'll lose a lot of bodies. SSG falling across the board, and TSM will pick up 3 kills. After that opening death, they bounce back.
In a big way. Thinking Nade, playing in the hallway, sees Merc, will lay in some shots, but no headshot means Merc just walks away from that engagement. He knows he has control of the projector hall, so he's just gonna leave. Doesn't need to pressure that at all. Reminder, this is a kitchen defense, as you can see. And that might not be obvious, considering most of these engagements have been upstairs. And there's another one from Merc, his second in the round. Canadian, the first to die in the last round.
Almost there. Where's it going to come from? They can't drone out Penthouse Theater because that's cord search.
It's a heat map design. Think about how a Mozzie interacts with the game. Think about what he does. He just creates a sphere where you cannot drone. So I want you to zoom your head out here like we're seeing the top down on the map. And I want you to think about, imagine what you can do with 3 of those spheres where you just prevent drone. Just full stop, no droning there until the problem is dealt with. That creates such an issue for you as an attacker when you've got a smart Mozzie. And of course, all of these players in Pro League who are going to be bringing Mozzie are smart because they can just cut away parts of the map that you're able to throw. Just it's gone. You can't do anything about it until you actually get there, and that slows down everything for you as an attacker. That's what makes Mozzie so powerful. It's partially the layers, it's partially the map design. I mean, like, for example, in that last situation, if there was a drone hole next to the luggage door, not so much of a problem, right? But there's not. The best he can hope for is to drop into garden, go into the main lobby, and come up the stairs. But then it gets shot by the Vigil, who's also invisible. The layers. Anyway, that's just a discussion for another time. For right now, Space Station struggling, down 0-2. TSM looking pretty strong.
First engagement is Rampy versus Merc, or Bolo, rather. Actually, anticipating it would be Merc. But I mixed them up. Merc is still here and ready to engage. Is he on drone, though? That's the real question. Rampy goes back onto drone, and he's so close.
He
looks the wrong way. So he doesn't see the Jaeger.
Wow. He's still, I don't think
he might have gotten it if he's still on the drone.
Right at the end, he might have, yeah. But I don't think so, no, because he went to Skeleton Key right after. He likely wouldn't have had he spotted Merc. I think Merc has somehow managed to avoid detection.
Are you sure?
No, I was
Oh
wrong.
Are you sure Merc's not playing Vigil? Maybe he just, you know, does Jaeger have cloaking devices? First pick goes to Rampy and to SSG.
So it's clearly incorrect there. He had been spotted out. Just a little bit of patience on Rampy's side. Patience on both players' sides, but Merc was unaware of his detection. Here comes the EMPs into the site to try and clear out anything that can be cleared out from SSG.
You can see there's a reluctance from Space Station to take fights against a team like TSM. I can understand why. They lose another piece of their roster, and now Bolo's gone as well. So Space Station, that reluctance is still paying off. Bolo swings on down, connects onto the buck of Rampy, takes out the drone, now looks towards the hookah wall, and, well, he's gone. He was the only one on his team that would have been able to do anything, and it won't be very much. One kill is all he gets. Space Station will take their very first round.
Only note and you can see by the percentages in the bottom left corner, the coastline is a well-balanced map. Compare it to other maps in Rainbow Six or in Pro League in specific. Cafe, for example, has about a 60% win rate for the defensive side.
TSM のクロスがうまくて崩せない部分が結構あるな。
And on this side, you've got
逆にクロス組んでないとこから行けば
pretty awesome. So one of the reasons why a lot of people like Coastline is that it
SSG
is
があ
well
りそうだけど
balanced. Mostly comes down to your ability as a player and your team's greater ability as a squad. But yeah, just a small little tidbit there. TSM still looking solid, despite having a bad round in the last. SSG showing that they came here to play. I'd like to see that.
It's back to the double bars, the first site that was played in this matchup, and TSM's starting point for the victory that they had on that round. The echo of Geo is droned out down in kitchen, and he's vulnerable on his drone. I don't know if somebody's going to be able to do much with this. Fultz's drone is lost in kitchen, so Geo very likely got off of his yokais and then, well, spotted the drone and shot it.
Yep.
Keep in mind, we literally call it the drone economy for a reason. And that's because, especially with operators such as Vigil, Mozzie, and Mute, seeing a much higher amount of play.
これないですよ。
You didn't get it. It must be somewhere indestructible. Sorry.
Could possibly be.
Yeah.
It depends on where it is in the route.
We don't know.
Could be on a beam, yeah. It's tough to tell from our perspective if it's something you can do, but
終わって。
Fultz opens up the wall inside of Hookah, and he sees the Jaeger peek and then drop. This is exactly what Achieved did in round number 1, but Achieved was able to take Canadian with him in the
終わっ
process.
て BG だと
Yeah,
10
well,
秒
I mean,
時
it's
間
still
稼げ
an
るな。
effective roam clear tactic there from Fultz. So, and this time there was nobody lost, which is big. The mirror window paying off in that it costs some utility to SSG. I think that was the overall goal there for Pojoman and TSM. They just wanted to waste utility, waste time upstairs, and the fact that Achieve got away with his life is pretty monumental for the defensive side. They'll be able to hold out a lot easier with an extra gun on board.
I don't even know if SSG has fully cleared out that second floor yet. It's so hard to tell, and especially when you They have now.
Yeah.
What are they able to do with it? Well, they've got control of Hookah. The only player that was really holding that second floor, Achieve, dropped much earlier, as we got to see, and Merc got back down towards the site. He's going to sit in lobby, and of course, Canadian sees the mirror of Pojoman, but holds trigger for now. Great discipline.
Yeah, that's very smart from Canadian. He's only got 11 bullets, but that's enough to get one kill. He knows that if he reloads, he'll give away his position by the sound cue. Oh,
yeah.
An opportunity missed. What a weird sidestep there from Pojo. You can't really blame Canadian for that, I guess, but you know, it is still unlucky, and SSG will have a harder time now.
I would suspect that Canadian was likely making calls. No pre-fire potential onto a second target as Canadian takes Pojoman out, and that's the very first kill. 20 seconds left on the clock. SSG gets the opening salvo. Merc finds one inside of the main lobby. That's thinking nade. He's gone back to a 4v4, and Merc will head in towards the site. Is there somebody on Hookah Vibes that they can, or Cool Vibe Stairs that they can really deal with here? No. Geo takes down Fultz, and SSG gets the diffuser down. First objective play that we've seen. Shot through the wall, not connecting. Bolo trapped down inside of Sunrise as Rampy eliminates Geo, and another from TSM goes down as well. So SSG with a lead. It will grow as Bolo is determined to be good as dead. That's a nice shot from Rampy.
Errors like rankers, so station. TSM having trouble denying the objective play on the site because they were forced so far away from SSG thanks to that skeleton key above. Now TSM's going to try something a little bit different. They're going to go to kitchen. They're going to roam over in the penthouse by the projector or media room or whatever you want to call it. There's an abundance of calls for that one. Again, it's really interesting to see the Mira constantly being brought out. It's
かな
almost
り
like a
よくそ
throwback.
んなに深いロッ
And
クするよな
yet, we have yet to see that Mira actually make a difference. Not one round has the Mira been relevant thus far through this match. Many of the engagements coming out have actually been in the, kind of around the Mira, but none of them using the Mira. It's kind of weird. Rampy shooting a drone there. That might have been a hacked drone. We do have Mozzie in play, but I'm not entirely sure. I didn't really pay attention before I saw it.
I'm glad you made a comment about that Mira because I was going to weigh in on that as well. Maybe not with the same confidence because, analysis is not really my forte as it is yours.
We've seen engagements around it, just not on it.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know how strong the Mira has honestly been. I think that it's providing usage, but at the same time, not that I'm going to recommend another
文
operator
字出るん
for
で時間
them,
かか
but
んね
it hasn't really been a big factor. Pojo hasn't really been a big factor. There's been no C4 that's really been needed from the Mira.
I'm not gonna out and say that the Mira's a bad pick. I'm just saying that it's
Say it.
Well, no, I'm just
Intend it.
it's rigid, all right, and it hasn't been directly benefiting TSM other than to eat up Space Station's time and utility. And if that's what you're betting on, if that's what you want, if you're TSM, then fine, do it. Like that's perfectly okay. It's the same reason you bring a castle,
Yeah.
And
Ooh,
there's
you
nothing
know.
wrong with that. It's just an interesting little tidbit to know.
You think it's SSG playing better around it, or do you just think that it's this map and the TSM obviously not using it the best that they could?
I think it's partially SSG. Yeah, they're really well circumventing that Mira window. In every situation where it pops up, they decide to come at it from the side.
Now, you may wonder why we've been taking so much time to dive into something as maybe minuscule as a Mira window or Mira's play, and that's because there really hasn't been all that much action. There's under a minute left in the round. The Space Station's entry through the main lobby is confronting a Mira window, so it's particularly relevant in this case. But the push from at least two members of Space Station appears to be heading on in through delivery and service. That's the IQ going to be doing some damage with the Zofia side by side. Run out potential from both Merc and Achieved above. They'll break the window and drop like an anvil onto the heads of Space Station.
I'd be surprised if there wasn't a Claymore there, though.
この音も気づかれてるし
I
な
believe we saw one actually get set up, so it will be, if you can land your shots before you hit the ground, there is indeed a Claymore. If you can land your shots before you hit the ground, well, you'll be able to take one down. There's an air jab there too for added measure. Pojo Man gets stunned out inside of B, and they're just gonna run right on in. Space Station with 2 kills, they're looking to take the lead. Oh, one gunfight from Full. Run right on. There's an air jab there too for added measure. Pojo Man gets stunned out inside of B, and they're just gonna run right on in. Space Station with 2 kills, they're looking to take the lead. Oh, one gunfight from Fultz. That's inhuman aim. It's all on Achieved shoulders, and he'll down one. They're just gonna take one down. Indeed, a
同時に
Claymore.
囲った
If you can
ああ
land
上
your
カ
shots
ゴ
before
に
you hit the ground,
カマ入れたんか
well,
一瞬
you'll be able to take one down. There's an air jab there too for added measure. Pojo Man gets stunned out inside of B, and they're just gonna run right on in. Space Station with 2 kills, they're looking to take the lead. Oh, one gunfight from Fultz. That's inhuman
いやロビー
aim.
じゃないな
It's all on Achieved shoulders, and he'll one gun, and they're just gonna take one down. There's an air jab there. If you could actually get set up, so it will be, if you can land your shots before you hit the ground, there's indeed a Claymore. You pick your first lead.
But he's on there. Warriors lobby collapsed through Sunrise, main lobby, and service entrance all at the same time with 10-15 seconds left in the round, something like that. That was the extent of the strategy from SSG that I could see. And of course there's probably more facets to it than I actually noticed, but wow, that was a really slow round with not a whole lot of action committed by SSG that I could actually see. In particular, again, the fact that they didn't clear out the top floor was pretty astounding. And yet, SSG wins it. I mean, wow, that's it. That's impressive stuff. The flank from Sunrise Bar was big from Faults, of course, and I think that was integral to the win there for SSG. They might not have been able to handle it after, if not for that. It might have come down to a 0-0 plant situation and maybe an advantage for TSM in the man count, and then suddenly they're denying the plant on 0-0 and TSM wins. But that's not what we saw because of Faults. So impressive stuff from him. Interesting round from SSG, and let's see if Faults can make some more magic happen as he starts to push in through service entrance, kind of brazenly facing his opponent on the other side of this reinforcement. Flash goes out, and that'll be a full blind. With the C4 to stop the rush. Here's the cross, though, and Faults wins the fight. There goes Geo. Refrag potential here for the Vigil, and he'll get it. That's Merc, who keeps things nice and even.
Former teammates on
勝つん
organized
だ情報出
chaos,
てたんだ
Merc
けど
and
な
Fultz had bright futures in Pro League, and they are living up to it. And Merc in particular now will win his second gunfight, this time under
うわ
Rampy.
うまい
Two people from SSG taken down by Merc, and all he exchanges is 55 HP. I don't think that's too bad. If he gets pushed from main lobby, he's got Achieved right behind him. As all this action occurring in the first half of the round, still plenty of time for Space Station to maybe accomplish something, but they're going to need another pick soon, as when you get down to those 20 seconds left, all the trades will of course favor the team with the advantage, and that at the moment is TSM.
Oh, Merc makes that cross, even though the information's in, but he dies somewhere else, maybe from service entrance. As, no, actually it's the front door. Spray through the stock wall, through the wall. Impressive stuff. Merc goes down. So Space Station eventually do get revenge for their two fallen comrades.
There were a lot of drones used by Space Station there. I think we saw 3 of them in particular, just from what we saw. 3 drones specifically, and what happens now? Well, you've got a Mozzie on the board still, so you might have lost other drones before that. The Vigil obviously will not be of impact because he's dead, but Achieved gets away scot-free from main lobby, and SSG were holding that angle, expecting him to still be there after that drone was shot. They could have capitalized on the fact that they had a second player from TSM within their sights, but they let them slip through.
Thanks to that Vigil ability that so much time was wasted, but honestly SSG's been coming down to the wire every single one of these rounds, so it's not exactly going to be a surprise when you see a slow SSG attack based on what we've had so far. If SSG takes this, then that's a really solid lead coming out of the first half, but TSM could easily turn this into a 3-3.
You see Thinking Nate creeping on up to Bolo, so now TSM will trail in terms of man count. Pojo Man emerging through his own smoke. The mirror experiment failed in the last round. Pojo gets absolutely beheaded by Thinking Nate, and a slow peek. I don't know what they were thinking. Well, in this case, Thinking Nate obviously not living up to his namesake. Achieve significant damage. Very winnable. Will he get the clutch? No! So close. So close, but just as very
now that just after it really in my head, really odd.
うまく
To the
枚数つ
extreme.
けたけどな
And it left a lot of questions in my head as to what they were planning, what the goal was, and maybe it comes down to timing. Maybe it's just unlucky, but TSM were wrong time, wrong place, wrong everything in that last round. SSG constantly getting the better of their opponent to the point at which they had such a strong man lead in that 3v3 going into a 3v1 that, yeah, okay, almost a clutch, but not so, as Canadian was able to lock it up. You know, one more kill there from someone else early in the round, and that could have been a different result. We see a 3-3 here.
inhuman reactions.
Well,
I would
then,
say
I
in
just
other
got-
esports.
Are we talking about the Fultz moment?
I mean, it was Canadian also flicking onto Achieved, and then also Achieved and what he was able to accomplish right before he got Canadian. They were.
That's why I said Fultz reactions. I didn't want to steal the inhuman bit. I don't know.
Oh, Merc almost taking the head off of one of the members of SSG as he suffers some modest damage. Back onto drones, well, you see the head of what appears to be the Mozzie, actually, a Canadian holding that angle. Well, there goes the drone. So, Merc, you're inside a kitchen. You're going to have to get yourself out. Mute Jammers and Mozzie once again. And when we saw Space Station play Coastline before, because they have played it. They played it a couple weeks back, if I remember. They played it last week, didn't they? Merc picks up on Canadian, who just finds himself in a rough spot. Yes, SSG played Tempo Storm, and they abused the ever-living hell out of the Mute Mozzie combo.
It looks like we're having a much quicker attack here from TSM when you compare it to what we were seeing from SSG in the first half, because you can see they're already set up inside of the office, and they're ready to pounce. You've also got Merc by the kitchen. This is going to be a pincer movement attack strategy onto, well, just both of the bomb sites, to be honest.
Frag grenade goes in, but the ADS not cleared out. Some frustration from Achieved, as you can tell. Not happy with that one. Bosco taking some damage as Mira. That's basically what we're looking at right now. Nothing really changed. Oh, that's big from Thinking Nate onto Merc. Down goes the Ash, and the most consistent player for TSM so far in this matchup, barring some heroics from Achieved. Another ADS will catch a frag grenade, this time from Geo. Don't get these frag grenades, a lot of people often forget. He sees the head of the body of Space Station, but inside of Sunrise can't really do all that much. Great shot from Achieved onto Rampy. That's just a missed opportunity. Inside of the double bars. Now TSM storms in. They find 3 kills for their trouble. Go off. Bosco in a 1v3. He's in a bad spot. Phone call ringing away, and this should be an easy hold for TSM. Nitro Cell sails out,
Oh.
and Geo pushes in as it goes well.
Big thing that's lodged far through this huge is because it forced way over to Kitchen to round like this exclusively on Kitchen, or rather on this office in the blue bar. Had Kitchen been dealt with, get through there.
Buckhead 25 up.
And yeah, it's a rough situation to be in. What
that was a tough loss watching that fight.
Yeah, and Rampy really should have won it. Let's not jump around that.
How much HP did the Buck have? 25?
At the end, something low.
I think the Buck had 25 after that fight.
He was about blinking, maybe blinking.
Yeah.
Whatever it was low HP there from Achieved. And yeah, it's a rough situation to be in when you lose one of those, because that's different from Achieved. And yeah, it's a rough situation to be in when you lose one of those, because that's on Rampy, but that's not the extent of it too. There's one other thing I want to note before I end this. It's the mirror window. While it was really important to the outcome of the round, a lot of people on that mirror window died. We had like 2 people die on the mirror window trying to take fights with people in blue bar. TSM just brazenly peeking. Is like, oh yeah, I'll hold the angle. I'll take this fight. I don't care if you have pictures advantage. I'll win it. And TSM they won it several times, in fact. So that's big for TSM.
I really like that we're seeing 2 teams with some incredible players on either side, and some of, honestly, the purest aimers in North America, and I would even argue in all of Pro League. Right now, if you were to include like a top 10 list of the players that you know, can take over and capitalize off of misplays and just have incredibly good mechanical skill, you're looking at Merc, you're looking at Fultz. You can probably put Rampy in that conversation.
Achieved, maybe.
Polo would probably be in that conversation as well. And Merc,
Geo.
Speak of the devil, he takes out Bosco, down goes the smoke. That's a very tough operator to lose right away. However,
Bosco,
I really like that with the rosters that these 2 teams have, that we get to see this showmanship and gun skill on a map that is extremely frag heavy. I think it's very much living up to its billing so far, and TSM with that opening pick now have a better opportunity than they did seconds before to be able to tie this one up.
Yeah, you could argue that this map was made for these teams to play on, these 2 squads. This is about as good as it gets when it comes to teams on a matchup and the map suiting their play style. Highlighting, rather, their play style. And the cool thing about it is that neither of these teams actually like this map according to their records. So that's really, you know, it's an interesting play style on a matchup and the map play style. And the cool style, highlighting, rather, their play style. And the cool thing about it is that neither of these teams actually like this map according to their records. So that's really, you know, it's an interesting little thing to know. It's like, it's not going to be a dominant situation. TSM, though, are dominant in this round, as it is a 2v5. And as I noted earlier in the last round, TSM's attacks are just so much more, so much faster. SSG is dying so early on, and there's another death for SSG. No response. Rampy dead. It's a flawless round. Bolo, a long aim. Are going to match up against each other. Is not necessarily indicative of how 2 teams are going to match up against each other, especially when you have teams like SSG and TSM, which are so, I guess, so particularly talented and have a play style that I think really adheres differently to this map than other teams might. It's you know, it's a difference in the matchup. It's not something you can just take for granted. But yeah, I mean, right now it's definitely an attacker-favored map. We haven't seen a defensive win since TSM in round number 2, and we're right now in round number 9. So that's also worth keeping in mind.
Well, that can still happen here between these 2 teams. It definitely feels like a draw right now, unless TSM keep up this pace, which they look to be starting off to a rapid-fire pace when they were on defense before falling off and allowing SSG to capitalize. They had a slow start. There's going to go the first logic bomb, and upon that, a frag grenade, another opening pick for TSM. Bolo, I don't know TSM in these 2 teams. It definitely feels like a draw right now, unless TSM keep up this pace, which they look to be starting off to a rapid-fire pace when they were on defense before falling off and allowing SSG to capitalize. They had a slow start. There's going to go the first logic bomb, and upon that, a frag grenade, another opening pick for TSM. Bolo, I don't know if you were supposed to do that, but okay. You sacrificed Merc. Blood for the Blood Gods. He'll take a thinking nade. It's an absolute calamity. It's now achieved in a 1v2. They get the opening pick, but then things go from bad to worse. Soft destruction for achieved. He's going to narrowly miss the member of Space Station as he walks in. He'll have to grab the diffuser as well. Patience from both Rampy and Fultz, probably your two best bets for SSG in the dying moments of a round.
Oh, this plant attempt might go actually unhindered from Achieved. No. He comes off the stick. He could have stuck that, but he doesn't know it. 1v1 for
1v1.
Achieved. Now it's Rampy versus Achieved. That's way too much time for Achieved to have to worry about anything other than information. He's going to drone for his opponent, set it up for his teammates to watch and cover. It was a little bit of a risk, but he's clearly read that SSG's not going to get aggressive in this situation. Now he can plant safely with full information.
And there's nobody from SSG except for maybe a bulletproof camera that you can
まあこれでロビー
expect
か
to
も
be
な
able
くな
to
るか
find
な
this one. Diffuser goes down and Rampy
大抵
knows that
逆
it's
引っていく
go
から
time.
うわう
And
め
Achieved with a miraculous clutch. He plays that one perfectly in a 1v2, and he bails out the rest of his teammates.
Okay, if a drone has like that, they're going to make this push because I know that it's what needs to happen, and I know that if I fail in this, then the guy sitting next to me is going to be able to recover things. That's exactly what we just witnessed. And when you have Achieved pick up those 1v2 clutches and win it,
置いてなかったっぽい
and
けどな
prove your beliefs right,
勝って
it
3枚に対する
reinforces that and builds more confidence. TSM are in stride.
So, one thing that I think is worth asking about was Fultz was not aware of the
わおわおわ
position of the buck, and then Fultz goes down in main lobby. Rampy is playing by the door from kitchen over to sunrise, and the call must have been made. Buck is inside a bathroom, Buck is over by service, but Rampy doesn't move. Why do you think that is? There was plenty of time for the Buck to be able to pull and execute off. It's not like you had the clock on your side. There was 1 minute and 30 seconds left with Achieved holding that diffuser, and he had complete control of the site. What was the reluctance for Rampy to actually take any kind of engagement there? Do you think that he was assuming that Achieved would have taken the fight to him?
So there's two things for me. Thing number one, I think it's a lack of confidence. I think it's that he was worried about maybe losing the fight, which is fair because of thing number two. He's got a Scorpion. And at a long-range fight, you just are not beating a C8. And he knew that if he wanted to push in through kitchen, he would have had to contest with the Buck, who could have held the long angle from service entrance to kitchen door. So, yeah, Rampy's just playing it safe. He's playing it safe. He doesn't want to lose the round. Poor coordination with his teammate, sure, but I can totally, very easily put myself in Rampy's shoes and say I'm going to do the same exact thing. I'm not confident I'm going to be able to win at that distance. I don't want to even put myself in a position to have to test that theory. I'm just going to try and play this off the diffuser and off the plant. The problem is that they allowed it themselves to get into 2 1v1s. Anyway, lots of action going on here. Merc's going to get Bosco, who is out in the open waiting to die. And TSM, on the precipice of match point, might have just solidified it.
TSM have done an excellent job of finding the holes in the defense that Space Station have, which, of course, there appear to be quite a few, and then take advantage of them.
まあ
There's
強
another
すぎ
for
どうやっ
Merc
てジョ
as
ーク
he's
取ってん
heating
のお
up.
前
He saw double
What's he
digits
done?
for Achieved. Merc will get 2 kills for his trouble. Fultz manages to break him down, but Bolo has his teammates back, and they are avenging each other's. Oh my god, of course, TSM have done an excellent job of finding the holes in the defense that Space Station have, which, of course, there appear to be quite a few, and then take advantage of them. There's another for Merc as he's heating up. He saw double digits for Achieved. Merc will get 2 kills for his trouble. Fultz manages to break him down, but Bolo has his teammates back, and they are avenging each other as, oh my god, everybody's dead! All right, TSM have to fight.
I full put it really well. TSM is squinting and going, wow, oh, okay, we'll deal with it. And then it's easy because it's so they're being broadcasted these issues. A typical thing to do on a double bar defense is put
これ毎回
some
現
amount
地
of
起きてるの
effort
してる
into
現
holding
地じゃないわ
kitchen service entrance. That
ル
way
ーに置いてるだけ
you
だ
don't get cut off in the middle of Sunrise Bar. You don't have to do it, but if you do not do that, then do not leave yourself exposed to kitchen. I don't know. It's odd. It's odd what we're seeing from SSG. We're going to kitchen now, the actual bomb site. And now that SSG is positioned in the site, maybe they'll have some different outcome. But this is their 3rd time defending kitchen, and they haven't been successful yet.
The crazy thing is that when we swapped sides, and it was a 4-2 with SSG in full control, as you'd mentioned, they picked up steam and they did look much better on attack than they did on defense, right?
Yeah.
They did. They looked really good. Pojaman had 0 kills. He was playing Mira mostly, and then he switched on to the smoke. He's only picked up 1 kill so far. Now, his gadget work has been fine, but you're winning against Space Station, essentially a 4v5 in gun skill.
Yeah.
Merc is a big part of that. Achieved is a big part of that. These gentlemen are walking in, and they're getting the lion's share, pardon the pun, of the opening picks, and they're usually getting 2 of them. And well, how about
There's-
another?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, he'll get it with the Ash charge unless that gets ADS, but no, there you go. Pulse goes down.
That is a huge blow as well. And if you look at the statistics so far, of the 11 rounds, 8 opening picks for TSM. And this particular half, every single opening pick has been theirs. Now, there's an answer back from SSG. They managed to get 1. Achieved is under fire, almost a second for SSG. But you've got so much work to do. You've still got Merc alive. Bolo's been sacrificed, but that's been it. Half the round to go.
Bolo has also been one of those driving forces for TSM. That is a really long angle by Rampy. In case you guys missed it, that was all the way from hookah into penthouse. It's pretty crazy. Or not hookah, sorry, billiards into penthouse and hookah. He could do it from both. It's crazy.
Very, very long line. Merc wins the fight against Rampy. SSG just failing to hit their shots. What have you fed Merc this morning? The boy ate his Wheaties, apparently.
He's hitting these shots with hollow. That is a really long fight. That's one of the longer angle fights that you can get on this map. And Merc is winning it against an ACOG.
And he is fearless. It's been talked about how SSG is abusing the mute Mozzie meta. And how do you beat it if you're Merc? You just walk right in and they feed themselves to you. Pojo Man picks up kill number 2. Merc looking for the dagger into the hearts of Space Station. Stacked up as SSG. He looks away for just a second, but there it is. Easily shut down. Nice try, Space Station, but TSM were in full control. They pick up yet another victory. They're 5-1 on the season. No team has been able to take them down yet.
So I want to be really clear and blunt and just obvious about what happened there. SSG got out-talented. Now, that could come down to a lot of different factors. It could come down to just the overall talent of the players, which is less likely, because that is the sort of thing that is put on display in a variety of different ways through the match. More likely, SSG was having an off day, TSM were having an on day, and we saw that fully represented. Even in the first half, yeah, SSG's looking good. 4-2, we talked about it. That's a good position to be if you're SSG. But oh my gosh, all of those rounds came down in the last 20 seconds. Second half, TSM just bulldozing their way into the building. And then absolutely destroying SSG in every single gunfight, it seemed.
You had achieved being the star of the show for TSM for the first half with Merc behind him, and then Merc absolutely taking off in the second half. He's going to have 79 kills on the season already. Through 6 play days, 79 kills is a very impressively high number. He's breaking double digits almost every single match in that case.